Hi there, my name's Roger Owen from Supporting Nepal's Children, and the purpose of this video is to give you guys who are coming on our Build and Trek expedition, or Trek and Build expedition, a clearer insight into the kit that you need and how you need to prepare to have an amazing couple of weeks in Nepal. We've tried to put this together from the point of view of avoiding you making mistakes in terms of what you purchase prior to coming on the expedition, because I'm sure there will be little bits of kit that you do need. And the purpose of this video is to try and help you understand a little bit more about the kit required and therefore avoid some expensive mistakes. But the big thing is to come on one of our training weekends, and then you'll get a really clear understanding from the experience of the people who are on the weekend who've been there before. So that's what I would suggest you do. So without further ado, I'll get going. So there are three bits of kit that you will take to Nepal. You'll take a large holdall like this with the Supporting Nepal's Children brand on the side. You'll take a hand baggage, a rucksack of some sort, and you'll take what we call a grab bag, which is a bag of emergency information and kit, including things like your travel documents, your money, your passport, your phone, which goes with you everywhere. Talk more about that a little bit later on. In terms of your rucksack, we'll talk more about that as well. This is your hand baggage that you'll take on the plane, and within that needs to be enough emergency kit that should this not turn up for any reason on the carousel in Kathmandu, you've got enough in here to keep you going until this eventually catches you up, and it will catch you up. But the reason for this rucksack is to make sure you've got everything. Most important, the one thing you need to take with you, either in your bag or on your feet, is your boots, because that's the one item of equipment we can't necessarily replace when we're in Kathmandu, already broken in. And by that stage, you'll have broken your boots in, I'm sure. So we'll cover that later on. In terms of this item of equipment, we issue you with one of these. We have them made in Nepal, and then we fly them back, courtesy of some of our previous team. And they're basically like a North Face bag, except they're not. They're what you might call a hybrid copy, to put it politely. It's a really good case. It's not waterproof, but it's showerproof. It's got compression straps which allow you to strap it down and make it slightly smaller should you need to, on the sides and on the top. And what I always do is I put some gaffer tape of some significant colour on either end, because when you've got 20 of these all lined up with other enthusiastic owners of brand new bags, you can't find your bag for love nor money. So some little identity like that makes a big difference. So just going into it, I'm going to show you, with the exception of boots, everything that you're likely to be taking on Build and Trek. And I'll go through the items one at a time. It's got a zip top like this. I always take a combination lock that I lock things with. Always lock it on the plane from Heathrow or Manchester, wherever you're traveling from. I never lock it on the trail because the porters are perfectly trustworthy, and I just never bother. But it's got a little hook and eye that allow you to put a combination lock through both zips. Inside the flap, there's a zip pocket that you can use for your smalls or whatever else you fancy. I always take an air tag. I have my bags with an air tag on. You don't have to buy an Apple one, which are about £70 for two. These were, I think, $14.99 for two, and they do the job. And it means when you climb onto the plane, you can see your bag is in the hold, ready to go, which is brilliant. So I would recommend that you have some of these. Somebody wore one of these round their neck all the way to Everest Base Camp once, so his family could see where he was and plot his journey on the map. Good job he didn't go to Dubai for a long weekend. Anyway, that's that. So inside the bag, number of items of equipment. This is most of what you'll take, pretty much. Starts off with, for Build and Trek, starts off with a plastic bag. There we go. And this basically, you need to have a plastic bag like this, and I can recommend, there we go. I can recommend you invest very heavily in a bag of £2.70 Tesco heavy duty extra strong DIY sacks. These are absolutely brilliant because they are completely waterproof. They will stand up to absolutely anything, and for a roll of those of 10 strong, they cost you about 15 pence each. I'd recommend this, and this is what I leave in Kathmandu when we fly off to Pokhara or we fly off on one of our other adventures. And we have the ability to leave a bag at the hotel with anything we don't particularly want to take on the trail. So for example, for me, it might be a pair of jeans, and I can come back and collect that from the hotel afterwards. And inside my build and trek bag, I have the following items. So imagine I'm doing the trek first. So in there I have the jeans that I wore on the plane. I have a pair of working gloves for the build. I have my SNC gilet, highly fluorescent, size extra large. I have a dirty old t-shirt 1, dirty old t-shirt 2, and these are what I wear on the building site. I don't wear anything else. I have 2 t-shirts and I have 1 pair of shorts, and when I've finished with them on the build for 5 days, they go in the bin because they're disgusting. But that's what I do anyway. I have just 1 set of kit for that. And then I have a pair of safety goggles, which we insist everyone wears. And when we get to the site, everyone has a hard hat that we provide them with from the Nepal Youth Foundation. And that's basically the kit that I have for the build. And if the build's second on our itinerary, all of that just lives in a bag back at the hotel for when I'm ready to collect it before I go on the build. Okay, other items. So I've got a number of things here. I've got these compartment sacks. These are called packing cubes, and I would recommend these over and above very sexy and very expensive stuff sacks, which are reputed to be waterproof and are for about 5 minutes, but eventually they start to leak. So I would recommend you buy some of these. You can buy, they come in a pack of about 7 or 8, all different sizes, and they cost about £15. Brilliant for packing, for going anywhere on holiday or whatever. I recommend those. And then I invest in some very expensive Tesco plastic bags, which I then wrap these up with. And that works really, really well in terms of waterproofing all of your kit. Because this bag is showerproof, it's not watertight. So you couldn't submerge this in a river and expect it all to come out dry. But a combination of these where you can see everything, as opposed to a series of clothes in there which you're trying to work out where everything is, I find much easier to manage overall. So plastic bags, worth their weight in gold, and packing cubes even more so. So in here I've got my trekking kit, okay? And this is the stuff I will use on my trek. So first off, I have a merino wool next to the skin top. Very thin, not too heavy. What this enables me to do is this actually allows me to have a layered system of clothes. So I have this next to my skin. I then have a fleece or something similar like this over that. And then on top of that, I might have my gilet, which is one of these, which I find is windproof and very practical because it's got 2 zip pockets, because I glow too much, I get too warm too quickly. So the layering system is basically better than having 1 thick layer and 1 thin layer. And the reason is that the warm air gets trapped between the layers and keeps you warm. It also means that a thinner material will dry out that much quicker if you've been sweating in it, or if you've got wet for whatever reason. Merino wool, which you'll see advertised as well, also doesn't smell, even if you've worn it for 2 weeks, and I can testify to that. And I would recommend that a couple of these for a trip like Build and Trek will do you wonders, will do you a great job. So I have one of those, I have a fleece, a simple fleece. I might have a couple of trekking tops like these for the trek if it's a warm day. And something that you wear to the gym or something similar is perfect. Not cotton, because cotton, when you sweat in it or it gets wet, it gets cold. It's very hard to dry out. But this is polyester and dries really, really quickly. Obviously, I have my SNC shirt for photographic opportunities. Goes without saying. And then in addition to that, I carry a very lightweight thermal top that's probably weighs no more than 300 grams, dries really quickly, and again you can buy these in a variety of shops, packs down to next to nothing, and it dries really quickly, and it's a good warm layer. And that's pretty much all the warm layers apart from my down jacket that I use on the trail. Then I have a waterproof if I need it. Trouser wise, for build and trek, all you need is a pair of trekking trousers, and these are fairly thin ones. They're good for summer, good for autumn. They dry really quickly. Sometimes you can buy them with zip off legs so they convert to a pair of shorts. That's quite useful. These particular ones don't do that, but they dry really quickly. They're very flexible, they're light, and they don't cost a fortune. So you can pick up something like that if you want to from somewhere like Millet's for about £20. Or you can pay £150 for a beautiful Arc'teryx pair of trekking trousers that actually does the same thing. Okay, in addition to that, I've got a good pair of gloves, because when we go up to Poon Hill, we need to be warm, and it can blow a hoolie up there, which means that the wind chill is quite considerable, and that's the wind whipping the heat away from your body. So a good pair of gloves is worth having, and these are waterproof as well. I have a peak cap, which I wear, which keeps the sun out of my eyes, and I wear for most of the time trekking. I have a woolly hat to keep things warm, and I had the standard issue Sporting Nepal's Children buff, which keeps the dust out of my lungs, keeps my neck warm, and is a good piece of insulation. And that's pretty much all I have in my trekking gear. So fairly modest collection of stuff, it's fair to say. In addition to that, I have a few items which are really what I change into at the end of every day at the tea lodge when we've finished our trekking for the day. Because remember, we're doing about 5 days trekking. So each day you'll trek with one set of clothing on, and I then change into something dry, cleanish, and that's what I spend my time in the tea lodge. So in here I've got pajamas. Now some people say, you do not need pajamas. I like pajamas because I'm going to be spending about 10 hours a day in my sleeping bag, or a night in my sleeping bag. And something comfortable, familiar, means you get a good night's sleep, and therefore you're recharged for the following day. So I've got a light cotton bottoms and tops, and that works well for me. I've got a pair of shorts, I've got 3 pairs of pants, I've got a pair of trousers and a t-shirt I change into in the tea lodge. I've got a few pairs of socks. Overall I take about 3 pairs of socks, no more than that. I've got an extra merino wool top, which is just in case I need it or it's cold, and an extra t-shirt here as well, which just helps me during the course of the day. And that's pretty much all the clothing that I take. I don't take anything more than that apart from my down jacket. This is my down jacket. Now we'll do a separate piece on down jackets, which will follow up later in this program. But you need a warm down jacket for in the evenings in the tea lodges where it gets really quite chilly, and also for when we're at the top of Poon Hill where it might be blowing a hoolie, when you're watching the dawn come up over Dhaulagiri and Annapurna. You need something warm to keep you toasty, and you can spend anything up to about £600 on a UK one of these, or you can wait and buy one in Kathmandu for probably $35 to $40, and we will take you round the corner from the hotel where we've got a deal going with a really good enterprising gentleman in Kathmandu, and he will equip you with a range of colours and a range of choices on really, really good jackets. Perhaps not quite the quality of these, but certainly enough for the Poon Hill trek, and it will save you a fortune. Of course, if you want to buy something that's branded and super snurgly and everything else, that's entirely up to you. But I leave you with that choice. We can buy them in Kathmandu, and we will have time to buy them in Kathmandu. Okay, so that's down jackets. In addition to that, I've got a waterproof jacket and waterproof trousers. Where are we? Waterproof trousers, here they are, all rolled up. You don't need to spend a fortune on waterproofs, but a good jacket is worth investing in. But again, you don't have to spend huge amounts of money. Trousers, waterproof trousers are really useful to have, because when the rain's pouring onto this, guess where all the water goes? It goes straight onto your trousers. If you've got a lightweight pair of waterproof trousers, they don't have to be Gore-Tex. You don't have to spend any more than about £15 on them if you haven't got any. But something like that will be worth its weight in gold, so I would recommend it. In addition to that, I have a number of other items. Water bottles. We encourage everyone to buy 2 Nalgene water bottles, Nalgene. No other brand matches these. These have obviously got gaffer tape round, I'll talk to you about in a minute. But these are wide-necked, which allows our Shapani teams at the tea lodges to pour hot liquid, boiling liquid in, and that can go into your sleeping bag at night and to keep it nice and warm. Okay, so great hot water bottle. Otherwise, we have boiled water which cools off during the course of the night, and that becomes our drinking water, and it's all absolutely safe. 2 of these bottles are needed because you need to have one in play and one cooling down effectively. The gaffer tape is my own invention. I use it for emergency repairs. I had to use it the other day on someone whose shoe split in Tanzania. No one was happier than me as I ripped some of this off and mended her boot. So I'm delighted about that. But it's also good for many other running repairs. If you rip something, or you're trying to get your plug to fit into a very wobbly wall socket to get some electricity in a tea lodge, really good for all sorts of uses. So Nalgene water bottles, 1 litre each, essential. In addition to that, I take, on my feet, I take a pair of flip-flops or sliders, work fine too, and that's for just wearing around the tea lodge or around the campsite when we're on the build and trek. In addition to that, I take a small pair of trainers, and again, that's good for going around the town, good for around the campsite, and I find really useful, I have to say, in addition to my boots. So I've got boots, trainers, and flip-flops. In addition to that, in here, I've got a waterproof cover which goes over the top of my rucksack. Remember, your rucksacks are made up of about 70 different panels of material. They're not watertight, they're showerproof. A cover like this over a rucksack in the pouring rain will keep the worst of the weather off it. So it's worth having one of those. And many rucksacks these days come with an integrated rain cover, so you haven't even got to worry about buying one. A sleeping bag. You can get different types of sleeping bag. This particular one is called a RAB 900, and it's sort of the benchmark that we encourage people to move towards. It's made of down, this particular one, but you can buy, for less money, synthetic materials. They are slightly bulkier, but that's okay because our porters carry this bag, not us. And the great thing about these sleeping bags is they will last for years, and you may well be able to persuade a previous attendee at Build and Trek or Everest Base Camp or any of the other treks that we run to actually lend you theirs or sell you theirs or hire it. And we can provide you with a list of names of people who've been previously. You've probably got something like this that sat in their loft doing nothing. The great thing about these sleeping bags is they're really warm. Remember, you're spending about 10 hours a night in them, and so going in a pair of pajamas, you don't wear lots and lots of layers in a sleeping bag. You wear just some thin cotton, as I do, because it's actually the heat from your body that lofts this and makes it work. Because these are in box structure format as opposed to sewn all the way through. So what it means is this really lofts. You become about this big by the time your sleeping bag is fully lofted. So a good sleeping bag will probably set you back about £200, but it's a good investment, and you might well be able to pick up one from a very kind previous attendee who's really not got use for it and is happy to support you in your quest to raise money for supporting Nepal's children. A few other things that I take with me. I take a first aid kit. Won't go through that now, but I'll talk about that in just a while. Walking poles. I take walking poles, not everybody does. I find them very useful because my right knee is a bit dodgy, so I find this takes a lot of pressure off my knees. But again, don't buy yourself a pair of walking poles if you're not sure. Come on one of our weekends and have a go with someone else's, and then get a sense of whether you really need them or not. And you can still buy them on the trail if you really decide you need them. But there's good walking poles and bad walking poles, so make sure you get a good pair, but it doesn't necessarily need to be an expensive pair. A few other items. Oh, sleeping bag liner. I use a sleeping bag liner which is about Costs about £8 from Millets. It's cotton, and again, what it means is that the sleeping bag works that much more efficiently with one of these, and it keeps the sleeping bag clean, which means that overall my sleeping bags last longer and don't get grimy, because I'm in and out of them, you know, and I've been trekking and doing all sorts of other things. So that's that. Very important. Pillowcase. You can stuff your down jacket in this. It becomes a really nice pillow. It's familiar. It's cotton. It's not nylon like your sleeping bag is. And I reckon I get probably 10–15% better sleep sleeping on a cotton pillowcase rather than on a nylon sheet or a jacket that keeps going everywhere except under my head. Okay, so that's that. Wash kit. Talk more about that. Very simple wash kit. Nothing elaborate. Small bottles of everything. Most of it is replaceable in Kathmandu or on the trail. You know, you can still pick up toothpaste and extra toothbrushes and all those sorts of things. I wear gaiters when it's wet. These actually go over your boot and keep your feet dry if it's raining, and stop this area here getting muddy if it's muddy. I like them. Not everybody uses them. Again, come on a weekend, talk about the pros and cons, decide if you'd like to use a pair or not. That's important. And then there's a final sort of knickknacks bag here, which has got a number of things in. I'll just talk you through these. So I take a spare wallet for rupees or the local currency. I take some electrolyte drinks, tablets, which make the water, which we get from the lodges, taste a little bit better, and also helps replace my salt, the salt in my body. And these are made by companies like SIS or Zero. They come in different flavors. Big thing is to try them out before you go, decide which ones you like, which ones you can't stand the taste of, and choose some nice ones that you like the taste of for the entire trip. And I normally take, for a 2-week trip, I take a couple of these, because you use about 1.5 per litre of liquid, and we're probably drinking about 3 litres of liquid a day, to give you an idea, because otherwise we dehydrate and that causes altitude problems. So these are essential, so I take at least 2 tubes of those. In addition to that, I take some sunglasses, and on our higher trips we recommend category 4. So the typical sunglasses that you will buy to go on holiday to the Med are category 3. Category 4 is for glaciated areas, which is where we will be. And believe me, you don't want to be getting headaches because your sunglasses aren't powerful enough. So a pair of category 4, which we can tell you more about when we see you, are essential in my view. Okay, other items, I take a head torch, much better than a hand torch, because it will allow you to use both your hands when you're fumbling your way around the tea lodge at night trying to find the loo. We have had instances where someone didn't take the head torch and then was faced with about 40 doors, some of which were accommodation, some of which were loos, and he couldn't find his way back. And he had to wait until someone came out also to go to the loo for him to find his way back to where he was staying, into the room he was staying. So don't have that situation. I also take one of these plugs. Generally, it's it's British plugs you'll find in Nepal, with 3 of these holes which allow you to plug 3 things in at once. That works really well. And I take some spare cables. I take a spare battery pack, and I take a knickknacks bag which has everything from clothes pegs to washing line, bit of sticky tape, elastic bands, a couple of cable ties, and a penknife. And I tend to keep that for emergencies. And that's probably a communal item more than anything else. You don't need a lot of equipment. A lot of it you may already have, and if you're not sure, bring it up to the weekend and we'll have a look at it. So some of you may have a sleeping bag, so bring it up with you and we can tell you whether we think it will be beefy enough for the job. Or you might have I don't know, a down jacket or thermal layers. Bring them up with you and we'll have a look, and we'll try and give you some advice as to what works and what doesn't. Big thing is start preparing early, start thinking about the kit that you think you're going to need, and take advice and have a look at what's available. But you do not have to spend a fortune.